God calls imperfect people. This is both the good news and the very challenging news that's before us today. It is good news, incredibly good news, in fact, because if God calls imperfect people, then God's Spirit is at work in the lives of people like me, people like you, and everyone else in the world around us in order to pursue God's purposes in the world through them. That's incredible, isn't it? But it's also really challenging news because, as you're well aware, those of us who refer to ourselves as followers of Jesus Christ, well, we have a million different excuses for why we're not the right choice to pursue God's purposes in the world. We are too young, we are too old, we do not have the right gifts and skills. Whatever the excuse is that we have in our minds or on our lips, I can assure you that God has already heard it. So what does that mean for us? Filled with excuses and yet sensing that God may be leading us. Every minister knows the experience of being called from the pews or from the congregation to lead, to be a servant leader among the people. And when we enter seminary, we don't have it all figured out. Of course, I still don't have it all figured out. What I do have is a willingness to follow God's leading. What I do know is that God will equip me for service. So even though I was and am and will be a work in progress, I know that I can trust that if God has called me, God will also equip me. Let this good news lead you in the coming weeks. Thanks be to God.